Brand new information about St. Louis's FDA lab. It's been targeted by the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE. Tonight, we know that that lab will stay open, but for how long is still a major question. The FDA did not expand on whether the Trump administration reversed the decision to cut the lease or push it back on the building. Experts say is critical to testing the nation's drug supply. And as of right now, the building is still listed on DOGE's website. We continue to ask why this building landed on that list in the first place. New here at 5, our Cameron Bopp joining us after hearing from your elected leaders who are very close to the president. Cameron, what'd they tell you?
Yeah, Sam, this wouldn't be the first time the Trump administration and DOGE directed a termination of a contract, lease, or job and then went back on that decision. Senator Josh Hawley admits there is a lack of communication coming from the White House. We were able to catch up with him today on that topic, as well as U.S. Senator Eric Schmitt on what's making headlines.
Now, my understanding is that the FDA lab that you're referencing in St. Louis is not closing. And this is not something that we're going to lose, I think, which is good.
Senator Josh Hawley on this week's sudden move by the federal government to terminate the lease of an FDA testing lab in St. Louis. Now the FDA says the facility will remain open. How or why the switch, they couldn't say, but Hawley says on the move.
It's government. I mean, there's always communication issues. The most important thing is the result. If the President Trump and his administration want to do a top-to-bottom audit of the government, I'm all for that.
Senator Eric Schmitt is also in support of ongoing efforts to cut government spending. He says he backs the recent news of the Trump administration's push to dismantle the Department of Education.
It's just getting rid of a bureaucracy that's gotten pretty bloated and really pushed a pretty radical agenda under Joe Biden.
That radical agenda, he says, are diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in schools.
I don't think the federal government should be involved in that at all.
He says he wants to give more power to parents.
I'm okay with empowering Missourians to make more of these decisions.
If it means that we've got more resources in the state of Missouri for Missouri schools and Missouri parents, if that means more control for Missouri parents over their kids' education, then I'm for it.
But if that means federal funding for Missouri, that's unclear. Missouri itself is already short resources as Governor Mike Kehoe asks for a $200 million increase to public school funding as Missouri's budget grows. That's still not enough to meet the state's funding requirements. Turning to President Trump's tariffs on all goods imported from Canada and Mexico and the one-month exemption to U.S. automakers, despite some experts saying these tariffs could reduce job opportunities in the field, Schmitt cites the United Auto Workers Union's support of Trump's tariffs.
We're going to have more auto jobs, not less.
He says, for example, because Honda and Mercedes-Benz are building new U.S. plants, something the president said Tuesday during his speech to Congress. This, however, is false news. Honda denied the claim, saying it's only planning to build one of its models at an existing facility in the U.S. to avoid tariffs, a process the Japanese automaker says won't start until 2028, and Mercedes-Benz has not confirmed such a move, though the CEO mentioned last month it could localize production if tariffs hit. We also want to note neither senator commented on the potential for Missourians losing jobs amid these tariff talks and cost-cutting moves. This all comes as fears over Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security cuts loom as well. Each senator only gave us 5 minutes each to ask all the questions we wanted, so we didn't get to ask Senator Schmitt. But Senator Hawley says he will defend those programs for Americans. This all comes as House Republicans are finding they can't meet their own budget goals to meet President Donald Trump's legislative agenda without making those cuts. In the studio, Cameron Bopp, First Alert 4.
Cameron, thank you.